Gentlemen,
Sir.
welcome to the show. So, we were just talking a little bit about what the hell you're doing here.
Exactly. I'm wondering the same thing now.
I classified you as a local legend car guy.
Did you see that post that he put on there?
So I actually saw it last night on
Bancroft's
Facebook.
like, I wasn't scheduled on the show.
I'm like, yeah, don't give me big shoes to fill there, Mr. Shane.
It was like 10 o'clock. I was in bed scrolling through Facebook, saw Shane's reel. And this morning after a meeting, I said, all right, dude, you got me. Who are you bringing on the show? Because I'm still trying to figure it out.
A local legend.
Listen, you are a local legend, and people don't even know it, man.
No, and an OG.
And an OG.
And an OG.
I think it's
that I am for sure.
OG local legend.
I don't know about the legend part, but
Age approved.
So, Gibby, tell me what a handsome Cuban fellow like yourself is doing here today.
I have no freaking idea.
So we met in the car business what seems like a lifetime ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Buying and selling cars, used cars, and we all worked in that world. Bancroft really kind of made his bones in the used car world of things. And you just never went away.
And here I am, still plowing away every day, every day, just trying to make it happen. It's definitely not what it was back in the good old days. That's
for sure. I think we sound like every old guy ever on the planet about everything.
I am one of those every old guys on the planet. So, yeah, it's definitely not what it once was.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about, and I joke about it, but good-looking Cuban fellow down here. And you are in Bullhead City, Arizona. How'd you get here, man?
Well, we were looking for a little getaway spot, being from Southern California, and my parents got turned on to Laughlin, Nevada, because they were avid gamblers. I'm not, but they found a little place on the river, like a little home right on the water down in beautiful Needles, California, and we bought that place in 1989.
Jeez.
And started coming out here, just little weekend getaways, and in 1992, I got into the car business professionally after just kind of being a car flipper, curber, whatever, doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing, and ended up moving out here in 93 and started in the car business in this area right here in 93 and have seen just a lot of stuff go down in that time frame.
Yeah, 93, we're going way back there. So, what did you do when you got in the car business? Like you said, you've been flipping cars, you've been kind of doing your thing. And
I grew up in Whittier, California, which is, the famous boulevard, Whittier Boulevard. Cruising cars and having hot rods was what we did our whole life. So always buying old classics and just selling them and then buying another one. And it was just always an obsession of mine. My favorite toys when I was a kid were Hot Wheels. It was just cars my whole life. So came to one of those forks in the road and had to make a decision. And everybody had always told me, why don't you get in the car biz? So I did, man. I just picked up the paper, and the first place that said salesman wanted, I walked in, they hired me, and the first 12 years I spent kind of like what you guys did, working my way through retail automobile dealerships, and started as a salesman and got thrown in finance, became a closer, kind of did everything, and I worked at LJ Motors Chevrolet in Needles in 1993.
We're gonna have to get a call back for that one. That's
big time.
That's way back. That's before our time.
And then Nick Wiley rolled into town and bought Colorado River Ford. I worked for Nick for a long time. I actually worked at Findlay when they owned the Honda store in Bullhead City.
Yeah.
So I was a Findlay employee for a little while also, and then in 2004, I decided I didn't want to work for anybody anymore, so I got my own dealer license and started wholesaling, which basically consists of going from store to, used to consist of
No more.
going from store to store and buying the trades that they didn't want to keep,
which I think is where we met.
Yes.
Where'd you meet Bancroft?
I think I met Bancroft right after he got hired, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was
up in Kingman.
I think a gentleman who now works for you brought you in, right?
Back then, when I was in Kingman, yeah.
Yeah. Anthony, the dog.
Oh, the dog.
Anthony, the dog.
The OG dog.
I think he was the second guy to ever actually toss me a set of keys and say, go look at these.
Yeah.
And somewhere during that time was when Chris came into the picture, and then next thing you know, Chris was the one in that position, and I think for a while you were also in that position.
Yeah, I did some used cars in my time.
I bought a lot of cars from you, a lot of cars from him, a lot of cars from Dog. It's like, and here I am.
So it's your fault we can't sell cars anymore? Is that what you're
You ruined it for everyone.
I don't know, but I think
I told you you bought that car too cheap, man.
it's his fault that I can't buy cars anymore. It's like, it's definitely changed.
So you rolled in the 90s. You worked at dealerships that don't even exist anymore.
Correct.
I mean, shoot, there's not a dealership in Needles anymore, let alone a different one.
There's not much of anything.
The Ford store.
Unless you're growing some weed, going on in Needles, brother. That's
funny you say that
There's
because
no bank, no supermarket, no car dealership.
yeah,
There's
about
nothing.
half the applications we see from Needles are some form of weed industry.
Cannabis,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got more retail locations than we do
anything.
Gas stations.
Probably why the pizza's so good out there.
Pizza is bomb.
The River City stop,
River
huh?
City. Oh, the owner of that place is also
Old car guy.
Yeah, years and years. Gary Lewis. Shout out, Gary.
Yeah, shout out Gary Lewis, huh? Yeah. Which is kind of actually one of the other things that you and I do. We be boating.
We be boating.
Yeah.
Love that river.
We love that river, man. You ain't been getting out much.
You know, I mean, 1989, bro. How many times can you go up and down the stretch of Colorado River in that time frame? It kind of
few more. I promise you, a few more.
It gets a little repetitive after a while. Yeah, but it's still awesome. I love getting out there, and when any families visiting or whatever, then it's always like all of a sudden there's a resurgence of energy. I don't like you're out there all the time.
I love it.
And you've been boating for a while too.
Yeah, I don't do much else. I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning.
We know that.
I want to eat. I want to go to the river, and after that, I want to eat some pizza and go home and do it again.
Besides being like one of the greatest fathers that I have ever met in my life, this guy's so dedicated to his kids, and it's like he's out there with his kids. If he's on the river, it's like it's with his daughter, with his son. It's
my
like
favorite, man.
Yeah,
it's the absolute.
You're a great
highest
dad.
Quality time.
I look
man.
up to you.
Well,
you're a great dad.
Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my absolute. My son's leaving.
I know.
So I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with myself now.
I know.
My poor daughter.
Who's got the tissues?
Yeah, my poor daughter's gonna be sick and tired of me real fast.
Oh man.
She said, "Dad, just relax. We don't have to do something all the time."
Yeah. She loves the boating as much
does.
as you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's getting a little older. She got her own personality now, and she wants to go. She wants to sit on the boat, but she wants to read her book.
Right.
And I'm like, it's probably like every deal. I'm like, you having fun? Like, are you good? She's like, yeah, why?
That's her
in her own world.
Yeah, that's her.
Enjoy it, man, because she's at that age right now where she's gonna start that transition. I mean, I've got 4 children, and the youngest one's about to be 21, so they've all flown the coop. And what do they call it? Empty nest syndrome. Oh man, it's rough, bro. It's rough. It's no fun. Yeah.
Well, you got real soon.
She's what?
She'll be 13 soon.
Yeah, so you got a little time.
She'll be 13 soon, but I'll tell you, I spent most of my time during the week with my son, and still split time with their mom. And so when she starts hitting me with I want to go do something else on the weekend that's not with you, I'm gonna be like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
And that's why I'm telling you, enjoy it, because not quite 13, 14, 15, somewhere around 15ish is when it starts to make a major change, and then 16, 17, 18, right?
Hey, I got 5 kids, and 4 of them are there most of the time, and when they want to go do something with their friends, I'm like,
yeah, they get to that age where you're like, get out.
You need some money here. Here's $20. Here's
Get the
$20.
hell out of here.
Well, have fun.
Hilarious. Yep.
I need a break.
So what are you doing now, Gibby?
Actually, since the car business has changed a little bit on the wholesale side of things, I still do a lot of buying. I'm not so much a wholesaler as I am a buyer. I've got a few stores that need inventory, and there's still a few places that do some wholesaling. So, but it had slowed down a lot 16, 17, 18, right? Right around there is when kind of the market started shifting, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, oh
Boy, it hit.
we all know what happened then. Being in the area for so long, we're kind of geographically not really close to anything. So I always knew that there was a little bit of a demand for transportation in this, and I had been thinking about it for a long time. I mean, I drove a truck in the Army. When I was in the Army, I was a transportation specialist. I drove a deuce and a half every day. When I got out, I started a little trucking company. I was in the office furniture business, did that for almost 10 years. So kind of trucking's always kind of called out to me. So when COVID hit, it was like, ooh, man, my bank account felt it. Yeah. So I pulled the trigger and bought a truck and a
I've
trailer.
known you for like 20 some years now, and I didn't know those two pieces of it. I didn't know you were in the Army,
Oh yeah.
and I didn't know you owned your own trucking outfit for
Yeah,
a minute. Yeah.
I had a
I mean, I
company.
know what you do now, but
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Bankrupt, you got
Yeah.
bullshit more, man. I bullshit
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
That's how I know all this stuff.
Well, I mean, shit, I probably, when I was in the Army, I don't know, you probably weren't even born.
You're
I know
old.
I look good, but I'm old as dirt, bro. It's like, I'm old. I'm old.
Hey, you know what else is funny? We talk about BSing, right? We're professional BSers at some level. And, you know, we all go to the auction, right? We go up, do our thing, and it was a different time then. So, you know, you go in, you got your buy list, you're doing whatever, you try to buy some cars, you try to get out, go to the next one. And you go enough, you start to meet some people, make some friends. And of course, all the people at the auction trying to grease you up, make you feel fancy, whatever. And I
Among other
thought
things.
I thought I was a big deal until Gibby rolls in there one day, right? And I'm like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Yeah, good to see you. Da, da, da. And here comes Gibby, like the doors swing open. He's walking up, man. He's hugging people. He's kissing them. He's high-fiving people. And I was like, dang, man, I ain't got nothing on this guy.
I guess friends with that guy.
I guess socially, I'm a little bit of a hoe.
Yeah.
It's a Cuban thing, bro. You know, it's just, I mean, you know, hugging everybody, and just that's just kind of the way how we roll.
Yeah. Apparently, man.
Yeah.
You put me to shame. I thought I was a
didn't
big
mean
deal,
to.
you know?
I didn't know that. Now I feel bad.
Yeah, I was
you know?
like sitting over there taking notes on my auction sheet, man. So we said we weren't going to talk too much about the business, but I think we all know, man, the business changed a lot. Like we all spent some time in the used car world. The business changed a lot, man. We were back paper sheets writing notes on
sheets.
thing, you know. You had a scanner thing on your phone that never worked, like, you know, and
We didn't have scanners when I first started.
Yeah,
we had
a
a
scanner.
hardbook.
we didn't when I
We had
started
the
either,
book.
but I was telling
Do you remember the Palm Pilots?
Yeah,
When those
and then
first things
those.
came out with the little
Always
pencil.
shut
There was
down.
some little device that was just for car appraisals. Did you ever have one of those? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I turned you on to it, and you ended up getting one.
Wasn't that the Palm Pilot thing? Or?
Well, they had BlackBerry first, I think.
Yes.
And then some
There's one that was
outfit-
just for scanning.
Yeah,
things.
then an outfit came out was just for appraising cars.
Yeah.
You had to carry. You felt like a drug dealer. You carried your personal cell phone.
Yeah,
and
the
a-
Palm Pilot, the beeper, the freaking.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That was.
Let's not go
you know,
there.
now literally the world's at everybody's fingertips, and
Yeah, actually, it's.
Most people don't even go to the auction anymore.
I have an
Just do it
appointment. Right, I'm leaving
from
from here
office.
to go look at some cars. Now it's all right here. You open up your app. It's got a scanner on it. You hit the VIN. Boom! All the information pops up, and yeah, it's definitely come a long way from flipping through a little blue book and then going to schedule.
I remember
and
thinking I was ahead of the times, right? And there'd be some old dude out there with his sheets or his actual book.
Yeah, a
Did
blue
you ever
book.
see those guys?
the actual blue book.
Actual book. And I would be like, how the hell is that guy doing that?
And you know, it took a minute to learn how to use that book because it wasn't just like flip the
No,
page and go there.
no.
There was schedules, and then at the back you had to go. It's like it was a pain in the ass.
I can't remember what year. I want to say it was
The
like
shirt was in the back.
02
Yeah.
or 3 I started. And we would still get delivered a batch of Kelly Blue Books like every 2 months or something at the dealership.
Every other month.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
every other month.
And then they came out with, was it Car Power?
Yes. Which
it
is
was
Kelly.
like-
It's Kelly Blue Book.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, this is unbelievable because that book was a pain in the ass.
It
was.
was. But you know it would update every other month, and then they went to every month. And do you know where they are now?
Every week
Every
week.
oh, it's at least every week, if
Every
not more.
Friday,
at midnight.
your car takes a hit in its value.
Yeah.
It's like
So when we used to do
Sometimes
it,
they go up. Around this time of year.
That's true.
Well, I'll tell you, that's actually a funny example of things that change the car business, is that it's so reactive to the market that you will have an uptick in a car value if it's trending up,
Yes.
or if there's a supply issue.
Yes.
You never saw that before. It was just a formula, and you were going to get that formula whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, I had a customer just recently that bought an F-150 diesel, which is a rare animal, and it took way, way longer than it should have for them to, get delivery of the vehicle. When I was told, okay, we finally got it done, there were some issues. When they finally got it all resolved and said that, we could ship it to the customer, I'm like, you know what, we better check the book, because it's been like over 4 weeks. I think we're going on 5 weeks, and that thing the value could have changed drastically from what it was when they bought it to what it is today, and it went up $600.
Yeah.
Up from the time.
In 4 months.
That's a lot of money
in like
back
4 or
then.
5 weeks. No, this was just now. That was a lot of money back then.
That's like 6,000 now.
That's like 6,000
That's
today.
how old you are.
Yeah. That's that's one of those things that we express to customers, that the market can go any direction, and they don't believe us, but it does happen.
It does happen. It does happen.
Never happens to the trades, though. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's been wild, because we, at one point during COVID, this is not the case anymore, we would sell new cars to people, and they would resell them for more than we sold it to them for.
Yes.
Well, that's why General Motors, and I'm sure other manufacturers did it too, put that 6-month policy on it.
Yeah.
Couldn't resell it inside of 6 months, or else you lose your manufacturer's warranty.
Which was triggered by COVID, but was really due more to what COVID did to the supply chain.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I mean, everything stopped. I mean, the
It just flipped
manufacturing,
everything on its
the
head.
shipping, everything was affected.
Everything
by that.
us old car guys thought we knew, we didn't know anymore.
Yeah.
It was all new.
It all went.
Game-changing.
Yeah, it was crazy, and there was a lot of people buying new cars and turning around and selling them for more money. That's never happened before.
No.
Ever.
No,
has
never.
that ever happened?
You're talking about classics, of course. So.
Well, and used cars too. Everything. Everything was just like, there was such a demand for product that, it was just very unpredictable.
It was very weird. It
Very.
definitely had a reset in terms of what our expectations and what our values were of cars. And we are just now, really in the last year, got back to some normal, seasonal structure in the car business, on the retail side at least. I don't know what you see on the wholesale side, but it's been a wild couple of years.
It has. It has. It has. I don't think the dust has settled. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, we're still, we're paying for everything that happened in COVID. The lease market, they say, is still another year to 2 years out before it comes back, which heavily impacts the used car market. And so we're still paying the prices, which is one of the reasons why the used car market is still so high.
Strong. Yeah. And then there's supply on parts, right? Because I know there's a couple
Well,
of
let me tell
recalls
ya,
that you can't get.
There's
fixed.
definitely supply on parts, because I'm sick and tired of having these constraints on new cars. Every time I'm like, oh, cool, they're going to give me 5 Yukons. I'm going to order some Denali Ultimates, some AT4s. Nope. Not a one. Can't order them. Can't order them with roofs half the time.
It's either a motor or a car or an option.
Yeah, there's a few models.
So there's still some restraint somewhere.
Yeah, there's a few models out there that you have to, I've never had to be worried about buying a used car, because there's a recall in place and the parts are on back order, and it's been that way for a while. So there is a few particular models out there that you got to just kind of stay away from, because nobody's going to want to take that vehicle into inventory because it's got some kind of an issue, maybe minor, but still, maybe it has something to do with a check engine light and it won't pass smog or whatever, and it just needs a little part, and that part is just still not available. And so all of a sudden you got to be a little bit even more like paying attention to exactly what you're.
Some of those
what you're looking
recalls,
at.
like we just had one out on the 3500s, and we can't even wholesale those. So if we take them in on trade, we're required by General Motors to sit on those vehicles until the recall becomes available.
Right.
So we had a couple of trucks that were 3 months old, almost 4 months old, before we got the parts and were able to sell them.
They're good-looking trucks too. Everybody
they-
drive by, hey, what's that? And we can't sell it.
They
to them.
literally sold in the first couple of days they got fixed.
So those are trade-ins, or those
Those
are
were trade-ins.
Trade-ins.
And General Motors
And you couldn't
required-
ship them to
So
the
we
auction.
basically had the option of telling a customer, no, we won't do business because we won't be stuck with your trade, or taking on a trade that we can't sell. And that's painful,
Yeah.
because those 3500s aren't cheap. So you're going to take and sit on 50, 60 grand,
Calculated risk, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, hopefully we sold them profitably.
Hopefully.
We don't ever make any profit. We're a nonprofit organization.
Yeah. What did Joe Dirt say? When UNICEF gets in the car business? We don't want to talk about NGOs right now.
No, we don't want to do that.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
we'll
let's not
get
get
banned
going.
off the interwebs for that, so we'll save that for another
Let's
day.
not open that can.
Absolutely not. So don't be looking at my notes, man. I see you
sorry.
looking over there. It just says Gibby, legend in the business. That's all it says. Look. What's it say?
Yeah. Legend in the business.
There's probably more drawings on that paper than words, you know. So.
Yeah, there's always.
Same.
I can't sit still.
Well, I'm
so
glad to see that you get prepared.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I like to talk, man.
Yeah.
Every time we did the show with Christy back in the day, she'd have a page of notes. She'd have ideas, things she should want to talk about, and I'd sit down and be like, "Who's on the show today?" And it's probably one of the things that lended me some success in the car business. I just like talking to people, you know.
And that's key.
Yeah, and
Which
you
doesn't explain how he was ever successful in the car business, but
I had all the discipline that nobody else had.
he exchanged.
I actually showed up to work. I wasn't on drugs or an alcoholic. And,
that's true.
So-
Reliable, dependable,
2000s
responsible.
were a hell of a time in the car business.
But
I was
then-
way more talkative when I was younger, too.
Especially compared to the dog.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's had a
Talk about a
successful
man
career,
of
so.
few words, and he's been very successful
Yeah.
too. But
Hey,
yeah,
they say when we talk, people listen, though. Because it
that's
doesn't
true.
happen very often.
It doesn't happen.
explains
Yeah.
why no one listens to me.
True that. Yeah, me too.
You still talking?
He's fucking still rapping.
never
over
stopped
there.
talking,
This
did
guy,
you?
like, shut up.
The dog is a funny one because he's a guy we gotta get on here and tell his story. He's a hoot.
Well, we have.
If you ever get him, yeah.
I'm not even gonna go there.
Listen, we're gonna have to bleep a couple of Gibby's words here,
he'll-
but
yeah, he's
the
still-
stories we can't tell you. That's a whole different level of not okay for the internet.
And they're
so.
endless.
They're endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get into those stories.
No,
but,
sir.
But we were all like a bunch of car guys in the Vegas, typically Vegas auction, and then usually hung out there overnight.
Yep.
Created some fun times.
Yes. Yes, we maybe don't want to go there either.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? There was always something, but for sure Thursday,
You're
Friday.
not married, right?
No.
Bancroft's don't even got anything to worry about.
Are you kidding? I've been a happy single bachelor for like longer than I even like to admit. Yeah.
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 I've been divorced a long time, so
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I've
yeah.
noticed.
I was married when I was going to Vegas. It was not as much fun for me.
Oh, you were married back then? I did not know that.
Why do you think I never went and hung out? I went to the gym. I went to the hotel. I would have had way more fun.
And you've been single for a little while now, right?
I've been singing for a little while.
That's weird. I mean, such a good-looking guy, and he's like,
That's what I'm saying. It's weird,
what's going
right?
on with that?
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
he's smart. Better edit that.
All
out.
right.
You gotta be
There's
careful,
going to be a lot
guys.
of editing in this video now. Hold on.
'cause
So.
you got to be careful. You got somebody at home that you might just be pissing off right now.
I tell her all the time.
Yeah, I just, I've gotten kind of used to just doing my own thing, and once in a while it'd be nice maybe to have somebody around, but then when somebody's around, then it starts to become a bit of a nuisance, like something, how much money on your checkbook and permission and can I, and it's
Definitely a
like,
single guys podcast.
yeah,
Here we go.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I just can't.
you still got a old car?
No, you know what? I had a '63 Chevy pickup that I sold. It's been almost 2 years now, and I've been looking for something. But talk about markets that are out of control, bro. Like I said, growing up in Whittier in the '70s, I swear to God, I bought some cars that you would think I was completely bullshitting you if I told you what I paid for those cars.
Right.
And it was like and now it's like, I mean, even when I bought the truck.
So you're probably talking about actual traditional classics.
Classics,
'Kay.
like pre-'72.
Here's the bullhead version of that story. You used to buy an old K5 off of every street corner in Bullhead for $2 to $4 grand. Those things are 15, 20 grand now.
Oh, at least. I have a niece whose her husband just restored one that he's had since high school. He's, in his probably close to 40 now, something in that age, 2 kids, and he kept this Blazer and he just went through it, and it's more like 50
Yeah.
to 60,000.
You get a nice one, they're six figures.
Oh, man.
We're about to do one.
Yeah.
He did it up nice.
We have one out back at the main shop, and we're just looking for the right partnership with a school or vocab school here, and try to
Like to let the kids do it?
we're gonna
Nice.
give them the K5 and help them pay for parts. They put all the labor in it, and it'll be a joint partnership.
Oh, that's
and,
awesome.
And we'll use it in parades.
What year is that thing?
Stuff. It's a 80.
It's full top off, whatever year that is. It's super cool.
I think it's an
No,
85.
I didn't know 85. That thing's older than that.
Is it?
It's got to be.
That's a
Remember
great
that old green one we had on the back lot
Been
for a
sitting
while?
on back forever. Green.
I have seen that old truck sitting out there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the hell you guys doing with that thing?
Every freaking year, I'm always like, hey, man, you guys should sell me that Blazer.
Well, it belonged to somebody else, and the guy abandoned it. So
Wow,
We've been stuck. We can't do nothing with it.
That's a great idea with the kids, though. There's a guy that I follow online that he has a school that teaches kids how to rebuild cars. Like he does everything: fabrication, paint, mechanical, the whole kit and caboodle. And then every year, they take on a new project that they do a complete ground-up restoration on, and then they raffle the car off at the Ventura Fairgrounds car show that happens once a year. And man, these kids build some badass cars. Coincidentally, just a friend of mine goes there every year, and he entered the raffle and he won the car like 4 years ago.
No
it's
way.
a 64 Riviera.
Oh, that's a cool
And
car.
these kids just, man, and they're kids. They're literally kids. That's a really good idea. You guys should definitely look into finding a place
So I
where.
know we're talking about a raffle, but you brought up a car memory that how many times you run up bids on me?
Oh.
Explain what that means.
So we all would go and we'd stand in the lane like you see on TV, and you auction cars a little bit, right? And so it's actually
Pretty
super
good.
fun. When I first went, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, your head's spinning. It's loud. You can't hear what the guy's saying. After a while, you pick up you hear it. I don't know how to explain. You just hear it. But there's all these little tricks, and including like having little sneaky ways to bid. You know, like everybody's got a little sneaky way to bid. They like do this or whatever.
When they're actually bidding, yeah.
Right. But sometimes you don't really want a car, but you don't want anybody else to have it for that price either.
Exactly.
And so I know that I would stick around to those stupid CarMax guys every once in a while.
Oh, Lord.
And I'd be like, there's this guy's, I'm just going to stay in. And I'd just stay in and keep bidding and
Yeah,
keep bidding.
'cause
And
they
the guy's
don't
sitting
stop.
over their thing. And he just, and I mean, thousands of dollars. And I'm like, if this guy stops bidding, I get stuck with this car. I'm going to be so pissed.
Yeah. You got to be,
You have to be sneaky on both sides of it.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You got to be very experienced. It sounds like no big deal, but that's
Oh, yeah. You get stuck with a car for a couple $1,000s too much. That's hard to explain.
And there's a lot of pressure when you're right there because you've got simulcast, you're on camera. It's like a little area. You got the guy up there, like
The biggest pressure is knowing that you need to buy the cars to do your job, to take them home so everybody can sell them. And I remember when I first got in and first auction by myself, first couple times I went with Dog, I went with Troy. And first time I actually went up there by myself, I was so paranoid. The
It's
guys
scary.
were running me up. And so I just sat there and watched
They
most
were.
of the time, seeing which guys are working together, just trying to figure it out. And it takes some time to really figure it out.
really does.
And to figure out what they're saying and let's just face it, the auctioneers are trying to run you up arbitrarily
they're the
as
most-
well.
they're the most
calling up
scandalous
bids.
of all.
No one's bid a
Yeah,
damn
so-
penny yet. And this
yeah.
guy's running you up.
you see the seller go up to the block after later and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
One of my
A little
favorite
longer.
moves was the walk away. I'd always bid one more time, and then I'd pretend like I'm walking away, and I'd walk around the last person that was bidding, and I'd stand behind them and keep bidding.
I was going to ask you what your strategy was. Like, I tried a bunch of different stuff over there. I tried to hang out in the far end and just try to get their attention. Every once in a while, I'd go stand like right in front of the guy and be like super obnoxious.
Exactly.
Try to like scare people off.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think any of it
intimidating.
worked, but after a while, I think they all just know your games.
But being a wholesaler, I very rarely was buying on the auction block. I mean, I did. There were times in my career where
I saw you hustles from Odessa to
yeah.
a couple times.
No, yeah, and
you moved to 8 miles and made $500.
I worked for this one guy that did high volume, so I had to buy a lot. So I did do some buying on the block, but most of my experience on the block was selling.
Yeah.
So it's like and like running up a car is when maybe you don't even really want the car, but the guy from CarMax or one of those places, you just they're always buying the cars that you do want. So when you get an opportunity to make them pay an extra 500, 800, 1,000, it's like it just gives you this like.
That's a huge win.
Yeah, but as a wholesaler, I was always on the block. Right from the get-go, bidding on cars that I owned. That's a car that I wanted to get rid of, and they'd be like, da-da-da-da-da, and I'd be like, yeah, boom, let's go, and let's get it started.
I remember selling the first time.
You're not supposed to do that, by the way.
Yeah,
listen, old times.
That also takes some nerve.
Statute of limitations.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
But first time I went up selling, and I'm standing up there, and it was like people saw me walk up, and they just left. So I don't know if they, I was like, wait, hey, where'd all you guys go? You guys were all just fighting over this car.
And you were
what
selling?
about my cars,
You were selling?
Yeah. And there's a little art form to that too,
Yeah.
They know who you are, what you're selling, if you're a good seller or not. Like, it was a big game, man.
Lot to it.
Yeah, a lot to it.
Exhilarating though.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Due to COVID, again, back to COVID, like when that happened, they shut the auctions down. And even though they had been doing simulcast for a long time, which meant for years you've been able to just stay at the office and log on and buy the cars online, but it wasn't as popular as being there. There was something about being there, but then when COVID hit, like they literally shut down the auctions, and that became the main way of buying cars, and that has remained. So like you go to the auction now, and there's nobody there. Yeah. I mean, it's like that place used to be like massively just, and you go there now, it's like a ghost town. You're like, is there an auction going on? And everybody's just gotten so used to buying online that they don't even bother, like you used to have to touch the car, see the car.
That was half the fun was the.
Yeah.
Well,
because it sounds like there's some passion going on there with you.
Man,
and I know there is.
I love it.
You're in the gym.
I had a great time, man. I
sports.
met some awesome kids. There's a thing today. John Williams was featured by the university he's at, and just as like an off-season, shout out to someone who's excelling. And man, he's in his suit at Western Illinois. Looks like a grown man. And
He changed direction. I thought he was going Army.
now he went to Western Illinois. Again, I'd love to have him come down here and talk about it, but a lot of, I would say miscommunication and misunderstanding. Probably the only Army recruit to get a D1, offer to go play football at Army, and there were some things that are extra above and beyond a regular university, and screwed up his recruitment, and so he ended up Western Illinois. But I met that kid as a kid who was new to football. Matt brought him in, saw some talent in him, turned it into something, and that kid's it. My baby boy is going to go play football in the fall.
That's awesome.
Like,
Your baby boy is a big strapping baby. Let me tell
Ain't
you.
none of them babies.
So it's been a big part of my life for over a decade, and then it just stopped, and it's a weird feeling.
You're gonna have to revisit that maybe at some point in your life. It sounds like it was a fulfilling thing.
It is hard to balance. That fair?
Yeah,
It's hard to balance, man. So my boy's moving on, my baby girl's getting older, so new phase of life.
Maybe you'll find yourself back there someday when
I'll be an old fart out there.
There's a lot of knowledge up in there, brother.
I know.
Or married.
Whoa! All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Whoa!
That's a bad word. Bad word.
I posted something. It's Valentine's Day coming up, so I'm trolling. I'm talking crap, right? Yeah. I'm talking crap to all the couples, and I'm just being a jerk.
Yeah.
And
I know the feeling.
Someone hit me with the. What are you, reverse psychology? What are you, And I was like, man, I got to quit this. People are starting to mess with me here. So I'm going to dial back my Valentine's Day hate.
Yeah, Valentine's suck when you live the lifestyle like the one that we do.
But after Valentine's Day,
it's all good.
But uphill, I don't know what's good, but yeah.
I don't know. The Rockabilly Festival in Havasu happens to be that weekend.
Yeah,
So
I'll pick you up.
We'll go. I'm going to jump on my Harley. Since I don't have a classic car right now, I'm going to just have to jump on my Harley and go down and go check out some hot rods. And
yeah, that sounds like a way better time.
Yeah, listen to some
My
bands.
favorite thing about Valentine's Day, though, is that there are chocolate-covered strawberries everywhere. That's my favorite.
Chocolate covered always works for me.
I never would have guessed that.
Oh, my God. My daughter will be walking through the
Most
store.
plain eater I've ever met in my life, and you'll eat a chocolate covered strawberry.
Oh, it's the best. I love it.
Is that the
Have
only?
you seen this guy, the way he eats for being as athletically in the gym and healthy as he is?
I know, but what
He
I'm
be
saying
eating
is,
some really crappy
but he
I
doesn't.
eat a lot.
There's no
Crappy
variety
shit.
to what he eats.
No,
You
you're
know,
right.
it's pizza and burritos, bro. That's it. That's all I need is just my pizza and my burrito. That's all I need. Is
I was
this.
pissed. Humberto was closed today when I went by there too. So, but one of my favorite, my daughter will see the little kit at the grocery store, and she'll ask, "Dad, can I make chocolate?" In my head, I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
And
So,
Oreos. Oreos are a
I
big.
haven't had any Oreos in a long time.
Really?
Good. I switched off to other cookies.
Why? I got to hear this. There's got to be a reason.
This is actually super embarrassing. There is no limit to how many Oreos I can eat. I will eat a row of
I've
Oreos
seen
and be
you
like,
devour.
I could do
I
a
thought there was
couple
going to
more.
be some something health related.
listen.
His doctor told him that. He said, "No, I have no self-control."
I disappoint RFK daily. RFK does not approve of my diet. But yeah, like
Well, at least you're not
Oreos,
at
there's no
McDonald's.
limit.
At least you're not at McDonald's.
I'm not a McDonald's guy.
No.
I try to avoid fast food, and I don't drink sodas. Probably my only healthy
There you go.
habits.
There you go.
But I can eat a row of Oreos and be like, I can do a couple more. But so I started buying those Safeway cookies, chocolate chip cookies. 2-3 of those. I'm pretty content.
You don't eat a whole row?
Nah, not a whole row. No, not a whole bag. I eat
It was,
a couple. I'm
it
pretty
was a health
content.
decision.
You
Yeah.
learn to
Ironically, it's an
moderate,
improvement.
right?
Yeah,
you
it's
learn
an
to moderate. You learn to moderate.
So,
That's funny.
Gibby, you want to know why you're on here? Is exactly why, man. Ton of fun. Always good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah,
Thank you for
man.
having me. That was like, I kind of out of left field. I was like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, I'll go. I'm always
Hell
up
yeah.
for something fun.
Listen, man. I'm glad you did. And like I said, we've done, back when we could sell you cars, we sold you cars. And, now we see you around town. It's always good to see you. I'm always happy to see you out on the boat.
I haul a few cars for you guys though.
Yeah.
So I still
around.
Still in the Findlay orbit there
Like
a
I
little
said,
bit.
legend in the car business.
Legend.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Christopher,
Gibby.
always a pleasure.